Yo, people, lateness is greatness. Welcome to All You Can Eat Chelsea. I'm back again, and we got a special guest in Grizz from the Big Six and obviously NFC Day Trippers. Let's start with you, Grizz. How are you doing? Welcome to the Cauldron. Welcome to the away end.
Yeah, I'm feeling it already, man. It's proper cold in here. But listen, thank you for having me on, man. It's a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure, bro. Absolute pleasure. And listen, Miz, bro, how are you as well, bro? I know Australia time is kicking in. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, good, man. Good. It's really good to have Grizz on the show. I saw what you guys did to my boy. Oh, how the table has turned today, Grizz.
I was nice to him, and because I knew I'm going to be doing the reverse fixture the following morning.
It's true, you know. It's true. It's very true.
Reverse
We had it
fixture.
planned up.
All along in that show.
All
along in that show, yes. And I was like, get me in there. My boy needs me. Get me in there.
And Younes, bro, how are you feeling, man? There's so much news flying about. Obviously, the Champions League draw. How are you been?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I mean, first and foremost, it's only right. Grizz, welcome on. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
Going to have a very good insight into tomorrow's game. But yeah, it's popping, man. This transfer window's gone crazy. Yeah. I mean, there's like 4 days to go. I think that day is going to be a madness. But we'll wait and see. Not for Chelsea. We've done our business. We're just Actually, no, we've still got more business.
We've still got business to do. That's the funny
business.
We're so good.
Well, listen, people. Apologies for any of my lighting. I'm not at home where I usually am, so you're gonna just have to part with it for today. But it is what it is. Let's start with obviously the most important thing, which is the game coming up this weekend. Of course, there's transfers, but I feel like if a transfer breaks, you know, we're going to be onto it. We already know where the stages are at this point when it comes to, you know, Jules Koundé, when it comes to Saul Niguez at Atletico Madrid. And obviously, I mean, Liverpool, Grizz. I mean, I know a lot of people in the comments were asking, maybe in a cheeky way. I saw your post on Twitter with your face. You was kind of like, I'm in the mud. Any Liverpool transfer news before we kick into the preview?
No, it's been a mad, strange window for us. We started off like we're on a mission this summer with the recruitment of Konate. Like we were the first club to secure a signing, and then we thought, okay, this is a good start. We've got 2-3 months to secure 1 or 2 more, and then suddenly just flatline. So look, the situation is like we had loads of dead wood. I know some people get offended by the term dead wood, but it is what it is. We had a lot of dead wood to get rid of. Like a lot of players like are either unreliable or like in terms of injury prone or just not good enough. The likes of your Shaqiri, Wilsons, Gruiches, the list goes on. Divock Origi, a certain Divock Origi is still there. We're begging clubs like, come on, if any football directors are listening to this, like, oh, come on, man. Do your thing, innit? Like, you can take him for 8 million, like 10 million. Man scored in Champions League finals and shit. You know? So,
you sound like us trying to like offload your players.
That's exactly it, bro. Because our final signing or incoming is totally dependent on if we can get rid of Origi, which in itself is a weird situation to be in, but it's the kind of setup we've got, Matisse. Our manager's very loyal to his group. He believes in the unity and the closeness of the group and everything. But as fans, we get frustrated with that kind of, you know, theory and philosophy. We want new shiny toys every season, every summer. Yeah. But at the moment, we can't argue with their methods. Obviously, season pending. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I think you guys are kind of in a very similar situation to us. Is that we also had so much deadwood, and to be fair, the players that we did get rid of were quite promising young talents, and we still haven't got rid of the deadwood because nobody wants them, which is the issue. So it has kind of stopped us from pursuing our targets a lot earlier. I think we probably have midfielder wrapped up by now if we maybe got a few people out the door a bit earlier, etc., etc. Let me just read out a couple super chats and then we'll get straight into it. Smith says, the first time ever catching this show, Texas, US. Big up, Smith. I'm really happy that you can catch this one. Obviously, we do flirt with the time zone sometimes. We do go to the American time zone a little bit for the late night ones, but not today. And Cyrus says, "Here you go, bro. Hope this gets you a latte." every time
that's a thing now, isn't it? That's a thing.
It's become a thing.
This is a thing where every time I do this show, they're like, "Yo, this brother's not awake, man. We need to wake him up with something." But I was traveling most of the morning, so I'm actually not too bad. Appreciate it, much appreciated. I mean, Miz, let me start with you, bro. How are you feeling going into this epic clash? Because I said to Grizz on his channel yesterday, this is a big clash. This is two top teams going for the title. None of that Arsenal shit last weekend. This is the real stuff now. How are you feeling?
Bro, it's a blockbuster match. I'm feeling so confident. It's not even funny, to be honest.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Very confident. I'd normally go to, like, looking at the Liverpool fixture last season or the seasons before, I'd get worried. I'd be like, man, that blockbuster front three that they have, you know, their rock and roll sort of fullbacks that they've got, and their workhorses in the midfield, I'd get worried that, oh man, we just can't keep up with that intensity. But I look at our team now, honestly, no bias. Yes, I'm a Chelsea fan and whatnot. I can't spot a weakness in our team if I tried hard. I can't spot a weakness. And when I look at their team, yes, they're superb up front. They've got quality, of course. Their midfield is still strong. But I see that they do have certain areas in the back. I know they've got Van Dijk back, which is fantastic. And he's already starting to show what a supreme defender, you know, before he got injured, that he was. He's already starting to show that. But I feel like their fullbacks bombing forward, both the matches against Norwich and Burnley, especially Burnley, there is still that area that you can hurt them. And I feel like with the quality that we have, oh, Grizz, you better be careful if you guys are coming at us. You better be careful, because I think we got your number, man. I'm very confident, man. We're going to get the win.
Wow, this is incredible, because you're usually in the big games,
usually
like
the
you said,
pessimistic
you're a little
one.
bit more, yeah, you're usually quite cautious of it. Obviously, you're always like, you know, expecting the team to do big things, but this is a confidence I was not expecting. I mean, Grizz, if you want to rebuttal before I bring you
got Lukaku. You gotta be confident.
No, there is no rebuttal that can be done verbally at this stage. Like,
it's straight up violence.
You will see the evidence on the weekend.
Well, exactly. No, look, from a Chelsea point of view, I absolutely agree where Miz is coming from. Like, if I was in your guys' shoes, then yeah, the confidence levels wouldn't be that high, like how Mrs. said it. But I would be confident. But I'll believe in my team, because there's no doubt you guys have come on leaps and bounds under this coach, and the way he's got you guys playing. There's a certain amount of we were speaking about it yesterday, Matisse. It seems to that not arrogance, but confidence seems to be back in the Chelsea fan base and the team and the club as a whole. And this is what great coaches bring. They bring this aura back, and you feel as though you know, you're unbeatable again, just like, you know, you was under Mourinho, you know, and Conte at certain stages as well. So look, from your aspect, I absolutely agree. The sense of, we done them last year. We've on top of that, we've won the Champions League, and now we've recruited Lukaku to the already formidable squad we've had. It makes sense. But, you know, I think maybe the confidence, the line between confidence and over complacency is a fine line. And I do have to remind Ms. like, you know, the only time you've beaten us in the last 20 encounters at Anfield is like when we had no crowd and our 7th and 8th centre-back choices. But as I said, the rebuttals verbally don't matter. I get the confidence, and obviously I'm confident in my team. It's what happens on the pitch. But yes, it's an absolute epic clash as far as I'm concerned. An epic clashes. This is where the season really starts, kind of thing. This is when you know Premier League 2021 is here. 22, sorry, is here now. This is where it starts. Like, the first 2 games were almost a continuation of the preseason, if you know what I mean, without no disrespect. This is like, come on, focus. So it's going to be huge.
I think as well, I mean, I think this is, for me, the most difficult away game of the season. I think because Man City, if you're talking about having someone's number, we got their number, their address, their PIN codes, their bank details, the whole lot.
Their DNA.
Joe, if anything, we've got too much information on them. Do you know what I mean? We actually need to give some back. But with Liverpool, like Grizz said, I think the last win at Anfield, obviously, there was a few factors. I mean, Younes, do you think the crowd at Anfield coming back and having a good sing song at the beginning, do you think that's gonna change the dynamics of the game for you, or do you still feel confident to go there and do the business?
It will change the game for the first 15, 20 minutes. In a very similar way that we saw the Arsenal game at the Emirates go for the first 15 minutes, you know, where the crowd are hyped. And we know Liverpool's fans are, in terms of the league, probably the loudest when it comes to the 12th man. And it comes to a home ground. We know that Liverpool fans can just not shut up for flipping however long they want, especially if things are going well. So it can be a very hostile atmosphere. And you hear other managers always say, you know, in terms of where's the most hostile ground in the Premier League? Anfield. So there's that. But with Thomas Tuchel and the way we're doing things at the moment, we seem to have this composure for the first 15, 20 minutes to a game before we turn it on and we take control of the fixture. So that's what I'm relying on. I'm hoping that Liverpool, you know, don't have, let's say, an answer for those first 15, 20 minutes where they get a goal, because that will change the whole complexion of the game. If it's 0-0 for the first 15, 20 minutes, just like it was for the Arsenal game, although this will be harder, I believe we'll go on to win. That's my honest opinion. Now with Liverpool, this is weird because last season they had problems for factors unknown. Grizz will probably fill us in. I have no idea why they went on that losing streak with the same players that they probably have now. But now they look like they've turned the corner and they look like everyone's on the same page and Klopp has control of the squad again. But last season we beat them 1-0 at Anfield, Mason Mount goal. That's probably in the back of our heads, in the back of their heads. They've got a better defense now with Van Dijk back and all of that. So we'll see where that goes. But I think with Lukaku, I think with our confidence, I think with where we are, champions of Europe, you know, started the league fantastic. This is the biggest test, but we have what it takes to go to Anfield and win. We definitely have what it takes. And just like the Arsenal game where I said before that Tuchel's done his homework in terms of how to beat Arsenal, Tuchel will do his homework in terms of how to beat Liverpool. And the squad, the harmony, the positivity right now is at an all-time high. We've all seen the behind the scenes things at Chelsea, and it's crazy in terms of the way that the vibe is at the moment. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm confident. I'm like Miz. I am confident we'll go to Anfield, we'll get a result.
That's it, my boy. That's it.
but the one thing with Liverpool that I want to say is, how much better are they compared to last season with the same players that they have? And that's what I want to know from Grizz in terms of that front three, because we know how dangerous they can be. But I think in terms of Liverpool as a squad, without much change, well, Grizz, are you worried in terms of not really bringing in any players, with other teams bringing in players, using the same players that had that bad patch last season? Do you feel that's going to happen again, or do you feel like it's all under control now?
So it's you said that you don't know how, or you don't know why we had the season we had last season.
Yeah.
I gotta, in case you don't know, then I gotta remind you, it was unprecedented in terms of injuries. Like we had, and this is fact, we had 21 different centre-back pairings. It's unheard of. Wow, like you get injuries. Every club has injuries. That is not an excuse. It's a causation. There's a difference between an excuse and a causation. Facts are, and me and Matisse know because we go at each other and the other lads go at each other on the big six. We were down to our 6th and 7th choice centre-backs. Now, I know you guys have got a stack of centre-backs, but who are your 6th and 7th choice centre-backs if it came down to it? And would you be confident in having your 6th and 7th choice centre-backs, or in fact, at times, having Jorginho and Kante playing at the back? That's the situation we were. So you got to remember, we had Fabinho and Henderson at times playing centre-back because they were all out, and not small injuries, season. Obviously, the violins come out at this stage. I see a couple of violins, Matisse. I see a couple of violins.
You know what's funny? The violins follow you wherever you go, because
we
haven't really done violins on this show.
Exactly. They're coming. But it's all calm. Rhino skins here. It's no problem. But Younes, it's very difficult to explain to someone who's not seeing the team day in, day out, week in, week out, and then every week we were just getting more and more and more injuries, and it's depressing. Add to that, as I said to you, even our coach and our goalkeeper went through a couple of personal tragedies, losing their father and mother respectively, and it was just a season from the start. So I think you ask me if the squad is, how do I feel about the squad? Our first 14, 13 is, in my opinion, strong as anyone in the league still, especially with the returning players. So we have Joe Gomez, Matip, Konate, Virgil van Dijk as a 4 centre-backs. I think genuinely they're as good as anything in Europe as a collective force. Where the doubt in Liverpool fans, and most certainly by the sounds of it in other clubs fans, is, are they going to be reliable in terms of coming back from long-term injuries? That's the doubt in everyone's mind. And I said to Matisse as well, this is the litmus test tomorrow, because coming up against Lukaku, you're going to be tested, mate. This is
Lukaku versus
Lukaku, Werner, Mount, they will be tested. And I fully believe, I'm fully confident that they will come through with shining colours. As I said, beyond the 14, 15, our squad depth is not good. But we know from Jurgen Klopp's time at Mainz, Dortmund, now Liverpool, he just hates working with a bigger squad than 17, 18. That's it. He just wants to work with a group of 17, 18 and just coach them and become better players with his coaching. So, as I said, at the moment, we can't complain as Liverpool fans. Last season was an anomaly. I keep saying it, I keep repeating it, and this season will show. People forget we're unbeaten in 14.
Yeah.
Unbeaten in 14 with only 2 draws in there. So people have slept on Liverpool. Just that 2-month period where we lost 6 games in a row at Anfield. That was when we had no defense.
Was it 6 games?
No, 6 games at Anfield.
Yeah, I think it was 6 games.
Oh, man. That is some record, isn't it?
Yeah. Every pub team was beating us, man. Never mind you guys. You Champions League elect, man. We were getting beaten by Burnley. Who's that team that got relegated? Fulham. All sorts, so if people think that's the norm and that's a decline, they could be in for a shock this season.
Well, you guys, I think it speaks volumes when you guys came back to finish 3rd, isn't it? Even having probably your worst possible season that you could have had in terms of all the issues that were around it as well. This is a question from Jordan as well in the chat. A question for Grizz. Why hasn't Konate featured yet? I know Matip is a solid defender, but you did splash like 40 million on him. I think I kind of know the answer to this, Grizz. Can I try?
Of course.
If I'm wrong, definitely correct me. But I feel like, is this not what Klopp does? He whenever he buys a new player, he eases them in slowly until like the Christmas period. Your Naby Keitas, your Fabinhos. He never just throws them straight in. He kind of looks after them, isn't it?
Absolutely. Robertson is probably the best example of all. Robertson was signed and wasn't seen for 6 months, and everyone said, "Why are we buying this relegation fodder fullback and then just playing Alberto Moreno, who was a bit of a mad..." We compared him to Alonso a little bit in terms of he just goes up there and sometimes forgets to come back. But, he's very meticulous in terms of how he beds people in, especially defensive-minded players. So like Fabinho as well. Konate's a young lad. People forget. He's 21, I think, 22, something like that. He's a young kid still. He's playing. He's come to a club where we've got Virgil van Dijk and Matip, and people forget this is the pairing that enabled us to win the Champions League, the Premier League, and in a season finish on 97 points when we didn't win the league. Like 97 points ain't a joke. People forget that because City won it by 1 point. Yeah, that was known as, or that was called one of the greatest Premier League teams ever. That Man City team that pipped us by a season. And we were like a millimeter away from winning the double, the Champions League and the league that season. So because of do you remember the goal? I don't know, you guys will know, but the ball didn't go over the line, like literally a millimeter. It showed like in
that Man City game, right?
The Man City game.
Yeah,
the Man City game. So that was the difference.
I think scored. Leroy Sané scored.
Absolutely, and that was the difference between us going unbeaten in that league, winning the league, and so it's fine margins when you analyze it, but obviously, apart from Liverpool fans, not many people will look at it that deeply. And Konate will become good. Konate will come good. He's a young lad. He's got loads to learn still. And who better to just watch and learn from than Virgil van Dijk and Matip, in my opinion.
I was going to say, just going back to that previous point about undoubtedly your defense looks a lot better. Obviously, Virgil van Dijk is probably one of the best defenders, not just in the Premier League, probably in Europe or in world football for that matter. But I feel like, and I want to see what you have to say about this, Grizz. The teams so far you guys have played, and other teams as well in the Premier League, the ones that are not in the top 6, they do tend to exploit those gaps behind the fullbacks, but they're not always successful to do that because either they don't have the quality to exploit it completely. But I feel like every time I've watched Liverpool play, the amount of time Van Dijk previously and whoever is the partner, whether it's Joe Gomez or Matip, the amount of time these guys bail you out is incredible. And I feel like when it comes to a very quality side that you guys will come up against in this weekend, I mean, are you worried that, because your biggest playmakers are your right back and your left back, whether it's Robertson or even Tsimikas, who's doing the same thing as Robertson at the moment. But in terms of Trent Alexander-Arnold, a lot of the play happens from your fullbacks because you guys literally bypass your midfield. Are you worried that with the quality that we have and the 3 at the back and the wing backs that push up for us, that if you guys do go in that blockbuster manner, which seems like very natural for you guys to do that, like it's a natural instinct, are you worried that with the quality that we have, that maybe that could be a bit suicidal at times?
It's not maybe, it's true. We play like that, and when you're playing up against quality, there's always that danger. And there's no doubt in my mind that the quality you guys possess is on a par with anything in probably Europe in terms of counter-attacking and being able to exploit the spaces that we, as you say, tend to leave. Absolutely. I mean, I've said it before as well. Chelsea, in my opinion, I said it on the Big Six, didn't I? I said it's probably the best counter-attacking team in Europe last season. You exploit people's. You talk about Tuchel being able to or know teams' weaknesses. I think he's brilliant at that. I think he's meticulous in trying to work out opposition weaknesses. But as I said, we haven't been playing like this for a season and a half. We've been playing like this for the last 3 seasons. We formulated this way where we absolutely have confidence in our 2 centre-backs to be as good as the 2 forwards or whatever forwards are up against us on a one-on-one basis. And this is how this is how the great Ferguson teams used to play as well. He used to totally believe in one-on-one defending, going back to his Jaap Stam and Rio Ferdinand. He used to think one-on-one, you can't beat us. And that's why we were able to press. That's why we were able to condense play. Like a very good example was when we went to you guys and I think it was Werner's debut. When who got sent off?
Yeah.
Alonso got sent off. No, Christensen got sent off.
Christensen got sent off,
Yeah.
So going back to that game, we were playing on the halfway line throughout the game, I remember, even before the sending off. And the fear was Werner pulled off, if you remember, Fabinho was playing with Van Dijk that day and Trent. And so the fear from Liverpool fans and Chelsea fans were saying, oh my God, we're going to just target that. I think it was Chilwell that day. I'm not sure. Chilwell and Werner just doubling up on Trent and Fabinho. But I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The thing is, so many teams see this weakness, but take away last season's 2-month period where we lost 6 games in a row. Take that away for 2 months from the last 3-4 years. Or even take away last season if you think, we had a disastrous season, but we still finished above you guys. Look, that's no gas, that's fact, right? So
we started very dodgy. That's what
right. So exactly.
Here's another fact, Grizz. We're champions of Europe.
Absolutely. I used to look. I've said that 6 times. It's not a problem. Trust me. I've used that line many times. Not a problem. All right. But the fact is, right. The fact is, even if you take away last season and say, oh, we were awful, that gaps were there, and you harp on about, not you harp on, but people harp on about the weaknesses at the back. We literally were unbeaten for 2 years playing this way. Like it's and you talk about coming up against class opposition. We came up against all sorts of strikers, all sorts of varieties, and we literally had like 2 defeats in 2 years. So it's a mental way of playing to the neutral. You think we can spring that offside trap every single time. Just find the right pass, Mount making the right run, or Havertz finding that pass to Werner or Lukaku, and we're in. But it's a difficult thing to actually execute it against us, as hopefully you guys will find on Saturday.
I want to ask really quickly, because with Liverpool, this is the thing. You mentioned that unbeaten streak and what happened 2 seasons ago and whatnot. And yeah, back then that was unbelievable. That was unreal. But do you feel like now, though, and I don't know if you guys agree, but do you feel like with Liverpool now there's an over-reliance on that front three of Salah, Mane and Firmino? Do you feel like Liverpool have been figured out to an extent? Because what I see with Liverpool is, as much as variety as the players have, it seems to always be the same system that Klopp deploys. And I don't know if there's another way that Liverpool can play, especially the over-reliance on the wing-backs, that front three. If there's an answer to that, it seems like Liverpool don't have a counter. Is that right? Or do you feel confident in the way that Klopp is setting Liverpool up?
Do you want me to?
Yeah, Grizz.
Oh, yeah. So look, you mentioned the front three, and I think that's a fair point. Relying on the same front three for more than 3 seasons is unprecedented in Premier League. If you look at Premier League history, no strike force stays together that long as we have. So that's a valid point. Mane and Bobby, Liverpool fans will tell you, Mane and Bobby had a drop off last season, and it was concerning. But I think we've all. I haven't. I was waiting for you guys to mention a player that you guys have all forgotten, and I was hoping that you guys bring him up, but you haven't. But we've bought a certain Diogo Jota last season, who has come in and was probably on a scoring rate better than the stats. You know, this. I'm not into stats, but you know, every club, every fan base has their stats guys that pull out stats that blow your mind. And apparently his goals to minute ratio before he got injured last season was as good as anyone in the Premier League.
It was something like 12 goals of 15 matches that he's played, not
insane.
Even started.
And Miz, you got to remember, this is a guy who stepped into a Liverpool team that is a formidable front three, and he's not been overawed. He's not had time to settle. We talk about time to settle. He started off like a house on fire, and then he gets an injury where he's out for 3 months, guys. So it's one of those things. Again, it's get the violins out if you may. But he started off.
By the way, those violins look like chicken drumsticks.
Yeah, I'm hungry. It's true. You know that. Don't mention chicken to me, man. Listen, but the fact of the matter is, we brought in Jota to aid the front three that you're talking about, Younes, and so therefore the plan was there. Succession plan is there in place to sort of take over that man or add extra firepower. But obviously he was out for 3 months. He came back, and lo and behold, it coincides with us going on a 12-match unbeaten run. Yeah, being back. So now we've got 4 strikers. I know you're talking about the front three. It's actually, we've got a 4 now. We can choose and rotate. I'm not sure if Jota even starts against you guys. So you could say, wow, that's quite strength in depth now. Because Diogo Jota, I think has proven to be a very astute. He's not your blockbuster Lukaku, your Kane, your Grealishes or your Mbappe's, but he's turned out to be a £40 million, another astute, clever signing from Liverpool, because he's perfect for our system. He may not have the skills and the pleasing to the eye, to the neutral, and say sometimes he seems like he's stumbling over the ball, but my guy knows where the goal is, and he's proved so.
Big up to Man Knows Football and Alonso as well. Big fans of the show. I'm sure you saw that as well. Younes at the bottom. I've spoken to Genny on his channel a couple of days ago. So make sure you guys go subscribe as well to Man Knows Football. But Alonso, we will meet one day, my brother. Good luck at school today. I think the point you're making about the depth for Liverpool is an interesting one, because when you go to that midfield as well, obviously selling or Wijnaldum leaving on a free for PSG, We know what they're building over there. I was kind of surprised to see that you guys didn't go in for a Basuma or someone a little bit as soon as he went. I was expecting like a Basuma from Brighton to fit in perfectly. Is that a deal that you think can get done now, or do you think Naby Keita is going to be the successor in that role?
Yeah, I think. Look, I was very vocal at the start of the window, and most Liverpool fans were probably wanting more, but I didn't think we needed too much. I 100% needed a centre back. We went and done that. I was very adamant that we need a central midfielder, a durable central midfielder, because I think the quality of Naby and Ox isn't in doubt, but the durability is. Even Henderson gets injuries, them three. But it looks, Basuma, from what I know, was approached in April, and the fact that he wasn't very eager to join put us off, as well as the asking price at the time. It was said that he favoured Arsenal, but it seems as though
weird logic from him.
Well, let's not. I mean, I don't know if you want to turn this into an Arsenal banter show, but we can easily go down that route for me. But look, yeah, the guy wanted to Arsenal. Apparently, he's got close friends there and whatnot. So we were put off by that. As far as I was concerned, I was told we walked away from there and started looking at other targets. But since then, again, Liverpool fans are going to go mad when I say this, but through pre-season and the end of the season, Naby Keita and Knox have proven their fitness. It seems there could be light at the end of the tunnel. So because Naby Keita cost us 50 million, we're not a club that can afford to just turf 50 million players like Man City and even you guys. And just we have to try to make them work, if you know what I mean. We have to, even though, he's been a flop. I'm putting my hands up, I'm saying he's been a flop. Naby Keita has been an absolute flop. But Liverpool fans will tell you when he's playing, he's good. It's just he hasn't played. He's been injured all the time when we needed him. So everyone considers him as flop. Same with Oxlade. Everyone knows his horrendous injury problems. And I think the emergence of Harvey Elliott...
40 million on him as well, isn't it? He's quite expensive. Ox.
It was. But the emergence of Harvey Elliott in the central midfield role that he's playing, and you got to add Curtis Jones to that, who again, he's only 21. People forget, of course, because he's been, he's not in the class of, let's say, a Saka or a Foden. People still underestimate Curtis Jones is still a very good player. So he obviously thinks there's enough in them central midfield places. Thiago, again, injured for more than half of the season last season. First season into Premier League. So look, he thinks he's got enough. Again, numbers-wise, we've got 7-8 midfielders. I could name you. I could bore you with Henderson, Thiago, Fabinho, Milner, Ox, Naby, Curtis Jones, Elliott. There's about 8 there, and we only play 3. So he thinks 8 into 3 is fine numbers-wise. But Liverpool fans' concern is the durability and the injury situation of them. But Basuma, I would love that to happen, but I don't see it, man. I don't see it unless they change. Sort of get desperate, which they're not, because again, Arsenal went and give them 50 million for Ben White, so they're sitting nice now.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, Liverpool's midfield has always been about energy, and it's always been about pressing and counter press, and making sure that you almost like suck the life out of the opposition in that midfield, and you cover your defense while your fullbacks bomb forward. And although obviously Keita and Chamberlain are very talented, for them to be injury prone, especially in that position, with the way that you guys play, is such a risk going into the season. I think that's your biggest area of concern for me going forward, because I know your front three can score goals. I know Mane just had a drop off and he'll be back. I know Salah's going to be at the top of the leading charts. If Jota's fit, he's going to be fine. We know what Firmino brings to the team. The defense is back as well if it stays away from injuries. But that midfield for me, outside Fabinho, it just looks a little bit dodgy going forward if those guys don't stay fit. If they do stay fit, then you shouldn't have too many problems. But with the Champions League and so many matches, obviously you've got quite a challenging group. I think Atletico Madrid are in that group as well.
Porto, AC Milan. It's incredible. That's a group of death. Yeah.
You know what, Matisse? I can't argue with anything you said there. I literally can't. Yes, you're right. The attack and the defense seems to be fine and as good as anything and anyone in Europe. But that midfield, in terms of the way we play, I agree with you. It needs to be fully fit, fully energized to sort of execute the Klopp's pressing style, which is quite similar to the way you guys play in central midfield.
Just about to say.
Yeah, it's very similar. So this is why this weekend's game is mad intriguing for me. I mean, you saw the excitement we had on our show last night. I am actually, it's more excitement than nervousness or fear, because obviously it's too early for it to be a definitive loss for either side.
Probably a good time.
I think so. Younes, I think it's a clash of, without doubt, titans. I mean, obviously if Kane didn't go to City, now with Ronaldo going there, it may change the sort of odds in terms of who's the favourites. But I would say Chelsea and Liverpool are absolutely on a par with City in terms of favourites.
I have to ask as well. I'll start with Miz, I guess, with this one, is that obviously from a Chelsea perspective, everyone seems to be pretty much fit. I think Pulisic is maybe the only person that's not really available. We know Ziyech came back, Kante came back as well. For you, in terms of going into this game, who do you think is going to be our key player that we absolutely need to have one of those days where they're just unstoppable to win this match, do you feel?
Look, obviously they're the key suspects in terms of Lukaku. I'm not going to talk about the main ones. I think people know who the main ones are, but I might put up a sort of like an outfield sort of shout. I think Timo Werner might play here with Lukaku on this particular match, and the reason being, I feel like Liverpool, they've got and correct me if I'm wrong, Grizz. This is what I've seen, and I'm not a Liverpool fan, but I've seen how they play, and I've noticed that they've got two ways of playing. One is either really camp on the opposition half and suck their lives out, press, counter press, control the ball, and just bomb in those crosses and have many players into the box. Any second balls, win it straight away and camp them in there. Or if they see that the opposition are equally good in terms of controlling the ball, beating the press, coming out of their box, you're okay to drop off a little bit and then rely on that counter with your pace from the front three and the pace from the fullback. So I feel like there's not too much differences between the two teams, and it's going to be so tactical that you would need to really focus on the weaknesses. And the way I look at the biggest weakness is the gaps behind the fullbacks, because as I said, it's so natural for you guys to bomb your fullbacks up. Your midfielders will have to then tuck in and cover for that. And I'm not sure, as we've already touched, if your midfielders are, for the whole 90 minutes to be able to play in that manner, with that discipline, with that intensity, because our players are so good. And I feel like this Timo Werner's inclusion for this particular match, along with Lukaku, who hopefully will still be able to drag in Van Dijk and get the attention of Matip. And then you have the explosive pace of Timo Werner, either on the left side or he can drift around wherever, and then link up with Lukaku, and hopefully he lays it off to Lukaku. So Lukaku finishes it off. I just don't want Werner to finish it. If he does get the chance, I wouldn't mind him finishing it off as well. But to answer your question, Matisse, I think for me, one of the key players outside of the regular sort of suspects probably be Timo Werner.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Timo Werner is a dark horse to have a decent game here. Obviously at Anfield, I think he was really, really good last season. Ran the channels really well. Obviously got the goal that I think was wrongfully given offside. And for me, he puts Liverpool in a position where, do you stay with the high line or do you go to a mid block and drop off a little bit? And
that's the thing.
That's
the confusion.
Yeah. I think he could get in their head a little bit if he does start. Like you said, I think the finishing is still woeful, and that's a massive issue. So much like the Man City matches, Timo Werner really needs to be operating in a situation where he makes those runs centrally, but then actually runs out wide and maybe does cutbacks for Lukaku. And it'll be interesting to see if they can keep up that relationship that Werner and Ziyech had, where Ziyech would make the run centrally. I think he scored against Atletico Madrid. I'm not sure if Werner assisted that. He definitely did one against Man City as well. And we kind of just use Werner for what he is. And I call him this again, a space creator. He is a guy that creates space for others, and he creates space for himself with the runs. Very dangerous. We do create a lot more chances because we have that versatility of going in behind. But at the same time, the finishing is so woeful that you need to make sure that you've got other people on the pitch that can put the ball in the back of the net. I think that's what Lukaku can be a source of. I think the head-to-head, and we spoke about it last night, Grizz, I think the head-to-head, Lukaku versus Van Dijk is mouth-watering. I mean, Younes, do you see a situation where if Lukaku maybe isn't getting the best out of Van Dijk? Because I think both of them are very complete in their position. Lukaku's a complete striker, I think, you know, in the way that he's roughed around the edges of his game, and Van Dijk's obviously a very complete defender as well. Do you see a situation where maybe you can have Lukaku switch over to Matip and try him on that you know, where Trent plays as well on that right hand side of Liverpool's defence if it's not going well?
It depends who starts alongside him, because normally what tends to happen is Werner occupies that left hand side, you know, so not Lukaku. That's why I reckon Lukaku might just stay where he is, and that could possibly mean just, you know, sitting with Van Dijk. Now, the thing with Van Dijk, as Grizz said earlier on, there's an element here of just how confident he is in his ability because of the injury that he's just come back from. We all know that psychologically that can sit in the back of your head. We don't know just how confident he is himself in terms of his recovery, and if he feels like he's back to full fitness and he's got nothing to worry about. But that can always, we saw it with Hudson-Odoi. Look at the hesitancy in his game after his injury. You know, that went on for a while. So in terms of Lukaku, it could end up becoming a positive if Van Dijk does have those psychological issues, because Lukaku is probably one of the toughest in the business. So he'll have a hard time. Now, with Lukaku and the space, if Werner is going to be there, it totally depends on how Liverpool set up. It totally depends, as you said. And this is the thing, because against Arsenal, as I said this, anything that Arsenal done, it seemed like we had an answer. You know, defensively, we had an answer. Yeah. And I feel like with Liverpool, if they're going to be playing a high line, you know what the answer is. Timo Werner in behind. And possibly Lukaku as well, because Lukaku's got his pace. He's not slow anymore like he was at United. If they're going to play a little bit deeper, all right, cool. That probably means more ball control for us. And that probably means less of Liverpool coming out. And that's probably where they're least dangerous. You know, as much as we like to play in behind, Liverpool, when they're on the attack, can be lethal. So it just depends. And this is what I think. This is why I'm confident, because defensively, I think we'll have an answer. I think Tuchel has set this team up so solid defensively that it just brings a reassurance to us. So it opens up a little bit of confidence in our front line and in our strikers and our forward men. So yeah, that's what makes me confident. I think Lukaku will have Werner next to him tomorrow. But we'll wait and see. And alongside that, probably a Mason Mount. I don't see how you can possibly not play Mason Mount in an energy game like tomorrow, because it's going to be all about energy. It's going to be all about running. So you play Mason. And that probably means Havertz sits out. So, yeah.
I think it's crucial that we have Mason Mount in that team with Kante and Jorginho. Go on, Miz.
I was going to say, obviously the headlines, and I'm pretty sure the newspapers, articles and everything, when they do the preview and whatnot, will be Lukaku, Van Dijk. But I'm really keen to see Mo Salah versus Rudiger. I think Rudiger has been a supreme defender in Europe in recent times, and under Thomas Tuchel has absolutely been phenomenal. And I know the Liverpool fans, and especially Grizz, how much they like Salah. And I think Salah deserves the respect now. There was a moment where even within our fan base, you know, Eden Hazard, Salah, who's a better player. And it was always Eden from our perspective, that Eden's done it for a long time. Whereas I think Salah is now slowly catching up, you know, like season in, season out, the guy is banging in goals, and it's not stopping. So I think we need to start putting Salah in one of those top echelons in, you know, Premier League football's finest, I suppose. I would love to see Salah versus Rudiger, because this is a challenge, and Rudiger's been challenged a lot in the last 6 months, whether it's been in the Champions League, your Luis Suarez, you know, against Real Madrid, many of their players, obviously in the final against Man City. I'm so keen to see exactly how Rudiger is going to negate Salah, because if he can keep Salah quiet and physically put an impression on him and, you know, just have one of those shithousery performances that Rudiger has been given. You know,
the Atletico Madrid one comes to mind.
Whether it be the sneaky bite on whoever he did, was it against who was it? The bike Pogba in the Euros.
Pogba.
The sneaker. Yeah, those little
Oh,
cheeky
yeah.
things. I don't mind that. I like that. I like that dirtiness a little bit. So hopefully.
But Miss, you actually make a very good point there, because and it's related to, again, how you guys are talking about how Chelsea will approach this. So obviously, from a Chelsea fan's point of view, as you guys have clearly pointed out, you seem to think that behind our fullbacks is where the space is at, especially if you can get overlaps going, especially with Reece James and Chilwell or Alonso, whoever plays, right? Yeah. This is the key, though, because against most teams, that's fine and that's cool. But as you've said, doing that against Salah and Mane and leaving them one-on-one with your right-sided centre-back and your left-sided
just as dangerous. Yeah.
It's just as dangerous.
Yeah.
And then that's where you need, for example, a Kante to be absolutely impeccable, covering that side, and I don't know, whoever Mount covering the other side. Because I think Rudiger was one of your most improved centre-backs from watching from afar. I thought he was amazing in that second half of the season. Like every game, he would put in man of the match performances, it seems. Yeah. He had that buzz back of defending again, because I wasn't a big Rudiger fan. Rudiger's a lot like, sort of probably underrated, like sort of a lot of you guys probably don't rate Matip. You think, oh, Matip, there's a mistake in him, he looks ungainly. There's times where you think, but Matip is fucking solid, and hopefully you see that on Saturday. But Rudiger, every game, Rudiger looks solid, so motivated and everything. And I thought in the game where you beat us last season, I thought Rudiger was probably one of your men of the match. Like he absolutely pocketed Mo Salah. Yeah. But again, not many people get the better of Salah, continuously. Like, there was. Do you remember when Man United fans? You won't know, but Man United fans won my case about how Shaw pocketed Salah. In one game, they were like, Shaw ate Salah alive. Well, we saw what happened when he went there last season, and we turned them over 4-2. And Salah, was unplayable at times. So you're right. This is a massive test again for Rudiger, because now it's going to be total different. Last season was an empty Anfield. You could hear him shouting and motivating his team. He's not going to be able to hear any of that business. I'm telling you that now. on Saturday, Mo Salah and Rudiger, I think, will be a very key battle. You're right. Yeah. Because if you guys continue to try to target us going forward, which I don't think you will, I think you will play in a far more pragmatic way, because we're not Arsenal. We're not whoever else you've been playing. You're not going to leave. I don't think your coach is going to leave Rudiger and is it Christensen? Who's going to play on your right side?
It's a toss-up, to be honest.
Azpilicueta probably.
You never know.
You never know.
Chalobah.
Could be Chalobah. Could be even Christensen, Thiago Silva in the middle. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. I think he's going to go with, in my opinion, I think he's going to go with Christensen, and then Azpilicueta and Rudiger one-on-one with Mane and Salah. I don't think he's going to risk that too many times in a game unless you have to.
Yeah. Vylan says, why Chelsea getting Saul? Maybe a 4-2-4. No, I think it's very clear. We need an extra centre midfielder.
Rotation.
We need rotation. Chelsea cannot get through the season for me with only 3 centre midfielders. So how do you solve that? Well, you either promote one of the backup players in the squad, like an Ampadu, who for me didn't really have the loan that deserves some sort of chance in the first team. So I think more minutes under his belt could be viable, unless Tuchel really sees he can develop him in the squad. Loftus-Cheek would be the same thing as well, and he's not really a defensive-minded midfielder either in that pivot. And Barkley, we know we need to somehow ship him at the end of this window as well. So I think Saul, even though a lot of people will say, listen, not the greatest season at Atletico Madrid, I think Saul is going to come with some very core principles that Diego Simeone has drilled into every single member of that squad, that Tuchel is going to, value and rate very highly. I think also it's underplayed. Yeah. I think it's underplayed as well that Saul, I think, had some sort of kidney, like almost explosion, one of his kidneys in 17. So he's coming back. To come back from that is obviously a big task as well. And I think he just wants a new challenge. He seems to obviously want one out of Atletico Madrid. They signed DePaul, the Argentinian midfielder. They're great Copa America. I got to watch him a lot more closely there, and he was exceptional. So I think Atletico Madrid are open to obviously allowing Saul Niguez to go. And even though it's not the dream situation for me, I would prefer a Tchouaméni. I need to learn to say that right before you can continue to butcher me on this channel. But Tchouaméni had a great game for Monaco against Shakhtar. He's also a lot younger as well. That would be more of a permanent move. And we know just how highly he's regarded over there in Monaco. He plays every single game. Fabregas speaks very well of him. And he's just a little bit more of that Kante energy-esque, but also being able to sit as well. He can do both. And kind of covers that quite nicely. But, from everyone that I've spoken to on this channel and, Julian Laurens, etc., they do expect Tchouaméni to stay for another season, to keep playing more minutes, to keep starting, pump up his value, and then Monaco probably let him go next year. And there was even a rumour that Fabregas may even come over with him next summer as part of the coaching staff. So there's quite a lot going on there. Obviously, Fabregas, we have a great relationship with him. So if he can be a little double agent for us, then
if you get Tchouaméni this window, for me, you automatically become favourites. If
really
on your own, or at least I rate him that highly. I'd hate it. I'm shaking in my boots. I'm telling you now. If you guys get Tchouaméni as well, alongside Kante, wow. Like this kid is, in my opinion, he's elite. He's on a par with any young central midfielder in European football right now. And Monaco, you're right. It would make sense for Monaco to try to hold him, but without Champions League being knocked out, I think if someone comes in with and we know you got the P, you know what I mean? If you come in with a bit of paper, it would be very difficult to say no to Chelsea paper for him.
Yeah,
I don't think that
Grizz, what happened? Wasn't there some rumors at one stage that Saul was going to go to Liverpool at one stage? Was there
wages? Yeah, wages. It's basically Atletico Madrid are desperate to get him away, absolutely desperate to get him off their wage bill. Especially they bought De Paul in his position, as well as already the midfielders they've got already there. They've also added Mateus Cunha. Obviously, doesn't play in his position, but that's money being spent. They need to get him off the wage bill very, very quick. Hence why they offered him to everyone, including us. We liked him. His agent is Jonathan Barnett. We've got about 4 of his players. We've got a very good working relationship with his agent. But unfortunately, we don't start off players at 200 grand. It's just the way we work. No, it's
that's
just the way we work.
You have to build up to, isn't it? After
it's just the way we work. Our limit is 150 grand to start off, and that's for a top player. And then it's bonus incentivized. You've got to earn the right. So people talk about Mo Salah being on 150k, not really, because the guy fulfilled every bonus. And he was on 350k last season. His wage ended up but Saul starting off at 200 grand is a no-go. That's why we walked away from that deal as well.
Yeah,
I know it's frustration. Liverpool fans go mad. Like, why can't we pay? We can't. Look, not everyone's got that kind of money. Like, only certain clubs can operate like that.
I think Liverpool's transfer strategy over the last few years has served them well. They've very rarely got it wrong. And the players they have got it wrong, they haven't really spent a lot on. Minamino, you can say, obviously, you got
our only flop over 35 million is Naby Keita.
It's Naby Keita, yeah.
I asked someone to tell us a flop over 35 million since the last 4 years.
Would you put Chamberlain down as a flop? Because obviously he almost came to Chelsea as well, but he didn't want to play wing back.
He just hasn't played, has he?
Chamberlain just hasn't played enough. When he's played, he's brought us so many good memories, Matisse. People forget he single-handedly dumped Man City out of the Champions League.
I'd say
that's worth 40 million on its own. He was absolutely, you got to analyze the things. In the season that we won the Champions League, in that season, he scored 10 Premier League goals from central midfield. So flop overall. I can't be biased and say overall. If you look at his overall, because he hasn't played enough, you could consider that a flop. But the guy, when he plays, he's still fantastic for us.
Yeah. Another super chat from Villan says, having a feeling Reece James and Aspie will swap. This I have to ask. I almost forgot to ask this, Chris. This comes critical to that left back situation for Liverpool, because we know Robertson's back. Is there any chance that Tsimikas plays? Because he's had a really good start to the season. He's been doing really well. I've got him on my FPL team, and I know for a fact he's getting me points. So he's been getting forward. He's been putting the ball into the box. You know, he's looking like a very solid deputy. I never heard of him until he started playing the games this season, because obviously Robertson is always a permanent fixture at left back. But do you think there's a chance that you don't play Robertson in this game?
No, absolutely no chance. Robertson comes straight in. Tsimikas was brought from Olympiacos, who, if anybody knows, are used to winning title after title, game after game, are dominant in every game. And so their fullbacks are asked to play in a very similar style. Liverpool fullbacks are played. And therefore, that's why he was, proper scouted, with great scrutiny. And basically, he's a clone of Robertson when he's going forward. In fact, I've said on a couple of streams, potentially going forward, he has more to his game than Robertson. Where Robertson is polished is he's the complete fullback. He can going back. So where you guys sometimes, or some people have doubts about Trent, nobody has doubts about Robertson going back. So Robertson, you try beating him one-on-one. He's quick, he's strong, he's tenacious. He's comparable to any left back in world football. For me, I don't see many left backs better than him. So Tsimikas is not on that level, but he's done very well. And considering he was 10.5 million, again, I think
shrewd business. Yeah, shrewd business again. And this is the thing why I have to hand it to Liverpool. They don't really go out and buy the marquee players that you expect to do well, the blockbuster. They go out and they proper scout these individuals. Jota again at Wolves, he was having a great season at Wolves, a good season. But again, a lot of people, as soon as Timo Werner went to Chelsea, they were like, oh, Liverpool, they fumbled the bag. They couldn't afford Timo Werner's release clause. What are they going to do? And then they go and get Jota. And
now you ask Liverpool fans. You do
they
a
don't
poll.
care. Yeah, they don't care.
Did we make a mistake not going for Werner or Jota? And people unanimous tell you, Jota all day long.
Yeah, Marshall says whoever thinks Chelsea are going to win at Anfield is delusional. We are. See, Miz, he's just come out straight for your neck there, man.
Man, call me delusional, man. Call me delusional.
Come straight for all of us, because I've predicted 2-1 Chelsea on Grizz's show as well. We're going to slap you big time. I'm Marshall. I will note down your name in my notepad. If this doesn't go slap, if this is a draw or win for Chelsea, I will be calling you out on my next show.
Write that down. Marshall
just made the list. He just made the list.
Marshall, here's a message just for you.
Just for you. This is Anfield, not just like any other stadium. Much love to y'all from New York, Harlem. Big up, Marshall, man. Listen, you're putting down some serious predictions there, but I rate it.
Look. At the end of the day, we spoke about. So I've always thought that do you remember the records you guys had at home? Under Mourinho. Yeah. Right. I thought it's unreal. Like if you deep and you think about it, like so many teams coming there and you was unbeaten for so long. People often talk about people exactly. It's insane. People talk about sort of Anfield being a myth, right? But it swings both ways. You can't say it's a myth and then say, oh, without crowds, you can't use that as an excuse, because we're still unbeaten with crowds in there for 68 games. Burnley beat, we lost 6 times there, but that's without the crowd. So which one is it?
It's an atmosphere. You can't replace atmosphere, man. It's
a lot of people say it's a myth. Oh, there's no atmosphere in Liverpool, But then, how did we manage to overcome the teams that we've come? I'm not going to.
There is a clear. I think the one way to prove it is those Champions League ties. That Barcelona game where they got absolutely thumped at the Nou Camp, and I mean thumped. Yeah. Like there was no coming back from it. Good as gone. Messi smacking in free kicks. You thought to yourself, "There's no way," and they come back.
There's no way you can't stop Messi from scoring at Anfield. You think if you're 3-0 up, right? Messi, Suarez, Coutinho, and you think to yourself, "Come on, they get one, game over." But so people talk about the Anfield crowd being a myth, but then they say, "Oh, I don't know. Let's see. We've started off well with the crowd back again. The atmosphere. I was there. I'm looking to go Saturday again. I think it's going to be because your away crowd is good as well. Your away crowd is always packs out the Anfield Road end, and it's a hostile atmosphere. I have to admit, I'm not going to sit here and say it's friendly and it's all lovey and dovey.
I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be.
That's what football's about, Matisse.
Yeah,
the
we have some
tribalism is
legendary
mad.
Fixtures.
Legendary fixtures. And I feel as though we're coming back to that time where Chelsea and Liverpool is really, really relevant again.
Yeah. We need one of those semi-final Champions League ties between the two of us again. Those nights were untouchable. I mean,
untouched.
We'll go through a few of those memories actually towards the end of the show. But Vilan says again, what I meant was Reece James at right side centre back and Aspie at right wing back. For me, I don't know if Younes agrees on this and Miz, but for me, I wouldn't be swapping them around. I think Reece James was deadly against Arsenal. Goal and an assist. I think finally now we might start to. I think everybody at Chelsea knows, but now I think the rest of the Premier League will start to realise just how good Reece James's delivery is now that he's got someone to hit in Lukaku. Before airily the team stank up the place. The anticipation was awful as well. Whenever he used to put the ball across the box, basically what Man City do for the Grealish's first goal of the season. Basically the ball across the box, tapping at the back post. Sterling thrived off of it. Our team just could not understand that logic of getting on the end of crosses. But with Lukaku in the team, I think Reece James's assists should go up this season. So he's someone that should finally get the recognition that his chance creation deserves on that side. And for me, I wouldn't be changing that. I think Azpilicueta just does his due diligence at right side centre back. He's very nitty gritty. He's not your modern day expansive Jules Koundé who could be potentially coming in. He's just that guy that just gets the job done. Got his little tricks up his sleeve if he needs to. Obviously he's not the biggest defender, so obviously he's got to have his ways about him. But he's just he's quality, man. And no matter how many times we try and replace this guy or modernize the defense and try and go a little bit more flashy, he always finds a way to say, "Listen, I might not be Jules Koundé or I might not be Christensen, but I'm still here. Don't sleep on me." So I wouldn't change that personally. I don't see a need to change that. What about you, Younes? Would you tamper with that?
I agree with you completely. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it for the fact, not because of Aspie not being able to play in that position, but Reece James right now in that position is lethal. And against Liverpool, especially with fast fullbacks, you need to counter that, and Reece James is the man to do it. So I think Reece James, I think Azpilicueta at right centre back as well is his most comfortable. He's solid. He doesn't have to run as much. He can conserve energy. He can just use his experience. He can tackle and get stuck in, and that's it. And if he needs cover, Reece James is there. I just think that works better. So I'd stick with what we've been using.
Yeah. Someone's saying here, what do you think of Hudson-Odoi on loan to Atlanta? Is that even a thing? I didn't even know that was a thing.
It's apparently that apparently is a thing. I mean, whether that happens or not, because his wages is a bit of a concern. No teams are willing to pay that level of wages, so Chelsea would have to chip in. But this is an interesting topic, and it probably is an even broader sort of situation. And I've said it a long time ago, even before the transfer season opened up, that Callum up front, immense competition, immense. Now you bring in Lukaku. There's two spots that he can possibly play. There's Timo Werner, Mason Mount, Kai Havertz, Pulisic, Ziyech. That's incredible competition for him to even think about. So I thought with the preseason that he had, the strong preseason, that we may start seeing him in the right wing-back position. But I think the Villarreal game, whether a lot of people saying that, the Villarreal game, maybe it was okay, maybe that's what he was instructed. But because he wasn't so eye-catching, he didn't get to start in the first Premier League game. He didn't get to start in the second one, and especially how good Reece James was against Arsenal, and the ability, the tactical sort of switch that Thomas Tuchel did, because Thomas Tuchel knows that Callum 1v1 is far superior to Reece James 1v1. However, he knows that Reece James, in regards to all the other facets of a wing-back play, is probably way ahead of Callum. So what he did, the tweak was, okay, I'm going to put a big man up there, Lukaku. I'm going to have the inside forwards, and I'm going to have all the focus of the opposition defenders on these three players, and absolutely leave Reece on his own. That way, there is no need for 1v1. He can just roam around free, whip in those crosses, find his man, and that's what happened. So I'm worried now. I don't think Callum Hudson-Odoi sees any minutes anywhere now.
I'm personally not comfortable. I mean, you know this, Miz. I'm not comfortable with this situation one bit, and I tell you why. I think first of all, Atalanta's a great loan move for him because he's going to be in a very attacking, thriving system that create loads of chances. Atalanta play beautiful football, and I said the same thing for Tammy Abraham. But there's two things here. One is obviously if Reece James goes down, you've only got Azpilicueta who can play right wing back, and I'm not the biggest fan of having Azpilicueta right wing back for most games, apart from maybe the biggest clashes away from home in Champions League ties. Maybe I can deal
Perhaps
with it.
Koundé could play that as well, Matisse. Perhaps Koundé could play that.
I don't know about Koundé at right wing back. I haven't seen it, so it would be a weird one for me. But I think Hudson-Odoi, that option, and again, I spoke about it before in terms of flexibility tactically. If you do have a winger at right wing back, you can change formation. You can't do that without Hudson-Odoi. I don't like Pulisic at right wing back at all. I don't think it's a good look for him or the team. And also, we talk about the players in those advanced positions that are ahead of him. The team sometimes does lack, raw creativity. And the only other person in that, behind the forwards that have been given that is Ziyech. And I think Hudson-Odoi is probably one of the most creative players in this team on his day. He can cross the ball, he can go both ways. The finishing needs to improve, but in terms of all the underlying statistics in terms of final decisions in the box as well, it's all usually very good in terms of chance creation in the box. Pulisic is far too inconsistent and injury prone to be relied upon. Ziyech has had a few injuries as well. There's a little concern at the back of my head as well. So I don't know. I feel like right now we have the perfect amount of depth to cover us for all these competitions. I think if we're to loan him out, unless we're going to bring in, I don't know, maybe an attacking right wing back, it would be a strange move in my opinion. I mean, Younes, what do you think about that as well?
It's tough, isn't it? Because a loan move would be good for him in terms of minutes. But at the same time, that point about depth is important. I mean, yeah, we have a lot of depth, but as you said, in terms of that wing back position, that's just the one concern. We know Hudson-Odoi can play there with the way Thomas Tuchel's used him before, so it's unfortunate. With Callum, it's one of those things. He's a top player. But it seems like everyone around him is just that bit better. And it's not to say that Hudson-Odoi isn't good. No, that's what I'm saying. He's a top player, but everyone else is just that little bit better, and that doesn't do him any justice, and that's just unfortunate, and that's the way it is. It's very, very hard for him to establish himself in this team, and that shows you the level at the club is very high. That's a good thing. But with Callum, on one hand, a loan move would be good. My fear is that if he goes out on loan, that could be Chelsea beginning to really settle in without him, and then that could lead to a permanent, and we might see him leave the club. That's my fear. So yeah, it's tough. I don't really know what to think of it, but if I had it my way, I would keep him.
And you know what, Younes, that gap that you're talking about, that he's just a tad below. Yeah. The only way to bridge that is by playing week in, week out. Yeah, already maybe. 2 first Premier League games he hasn't played. And I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, Miz, but the season's long. He will play." I know he will play, but playing 1 out of 5 games is not going to bridge that gap. You look at some of the other youngsters in the Premier League, especially Mason Greenwood. I mean, this guy is now blowing all youngsters away. Like Callum needs to keep up with everything for him to, the star boy sort of stuff that we always say in our fan base. He needs game time. That's why I thought a loan to whether it's Atalanta or even Dortmund or even Leipzig, and play week in, week out, where you become a superstar and you once again become like a headline, then Chelsea are forced to play you the season after. It will be like that Sancho situation that you have to play him.
I do agree with that logic 100%. I just think the only issue for me, Top Ball is saying it's a bit selfish on my part to keep him when he's going to be on the bench the whole season. The thing is, he's not going to be on the bench the whole season. That's the thing. And one reason is because Tuchel believes in him a lot. You can see that. I've spoken about that many a time. And secondly, because I don't believe that the attacking midfielders that we have are so good that someone like Hudson-Odoi doesn't have an opportunity to be consistently starting if he's on form. If Pulisic was out of this world, if Ziyech was consistently fit and out of this world, if Kai Havertz was doing what we, expect him to do in a few years' time when he's, a little bit older, obviously he's very young right now. If, if all these guys were firing at a world-class level week in, week out, maybe if this was a Liverpool front three situation with Jota, then I'd say, okay, cool. Hudson-Odoi is not going to get past Salah. He's not going to get past Mane. He's not going to get past Jota. That's fine. But you're trying to tell me he can't get past Werner? I wouldn't hang my hat on that with Werner's finishing. Pulisic, can't tell him he can't get past Pulisic. I wouldn't hang my hat on that either. I think Pulisic's definitely got weaknesses to his game. Now Hudson-Odoi is a lot better at him that in terms of decision making, picking your head up and finding people. Obviously, Pulisic's dribbling is very good. So there's too much factors in everyone's games that are not complete for me to be saying that this brother can go and this one can't. What is really stopping Pulisic from staying here, not going out on loan, and Hudson-Odoi? I'm not seeing massive different levels in terms of everyone's games for me to be saying one person should stay, one person should go. I think everybody's kind of flirting around that similar level, searching for consistency that they haven't got yet. And obviously the positional versatility is important, the fact that he can play wing back. But Switz says, bro, I'm so hyped for this weekend. I deeply believe we can go to Anfield and win. Also, don't go hiding on the big six if we pack you in, mate. I don't know where this logic comes from, Grizz, because I'm always on the big six, regardless of what the result is. In fact, I remember when we beat Tottenham away last season, and I wasn't on the big six after that win because I just couldn't be there. It's not result dependent, people. It's really not like that at all. There'll be no hiding if we manage to flop the game. Towards the end of the show, Grizz, what's your probably your standout Liverpool versus Chelsea game in history? Just give us a little storytelling of your favorite moment, I guess.
Gerrard slip.
Well, good and bad, exactly. Because the bad, like that's out the way, right? I'll start off with a bad one. I'll start off with a bad one because it really was probably, obviously, it is what it is. It's an absolute disaster. But it was the worst because me and my mate paid. Wait for it. We actually paid £800 for the ticket because we couldn't get a ticket for the game. £800 each, and this is the best bit or the worst bit. £800 each to sit in the Chelsea end.
Oh.
No, but because hold on, let me give context.
Go on.
Because you got to remember, we're about to win the league going into this game after X amount of years, etc., etc. There's no way we're missing this game in hell. Like, there's no chance of getting a ticket in the Anfield anywhere else. So I spoke to a couple of Chelsea fans that I know, and they said, "Yeah, we'll get you in. We got ticket in the Chelsea end. Come join us." So two of us, we didn't wear the top. We didn't have the Liverpool top underneath.
I was going to say,
good decision.
We just kept it calm. We just kept it real. When Demba Ba scored, I can't explain to you what kind of celebration it was. Like, because you can't just sit there and not celebrate or show anger.
Yeah, that's the thing. Otherwise, you're bait.
Because you mans are a bit, you know what I mean? All right?
The away Chelsea supporters, as they are for any club, are a bit vicious. So you can't just...
Say no more. Say no more. You got the message, right? I didn't need to have to give context to that. So
you had to celebrate.
Us being brown brothers on top as well. Anyway, but listen,
it's tough being brown, Grizz. It's tough being brown.
Listen, Chelsea end, Liverpool. Anyway, but it is what it is. You have
to give it a little, yeah.
No, to be honest with you, I'm not a jumper up when we score and whatnot. Anyway, I'm quite calm. Anyway, like
you're quite a calm guy.
Yeah, I don't jump around either way. Yeah, so
I wish I could have got a video of that, man.
That's why I don't do watch-alongs. Man, because I wouldn't be good at it. Because I'm fairly emotionless, like when I'm watching a game, right? But that was the horrible. Like the journey back, I cried. Like in the passenger seat, I was crying on the way back. The best moment and the best for me personally was the first semi-final, guys, when we beat you on penalties, and so there was two epic semi-finals, right?
Yeah.
This was the first one. No, I beg your pardon. The first one was the Garcia ghost goal, etc., etc.
Man.
Yeah. The second one, that's it. The second one, I was there at when Dirk Kuyt scored the winning goal in the penalty shootout. Do you remember Aga scored the free kick?
Dirk Kuyt was such a thorn in our side.
Every time.
Such a mere player, but he was against you lot. He was like
got on our nerves.
Such a mere player.
I
Otherwise,
hate, like, do you know what it was? I hated him because Torres was just outstanding. So Torres was one of my favorite strikers. The same with Henry. Even though I didn't play for my club, just as a football fan, I loved Fernando Torres. In fact, the Liverpool version I love more than the Chelsea version, of course. So, you know, when he was scoring that volley against Blackburn and the long shot against Middlesbrough, I can go through so many goals. Like, Torres was one of my favorite strikers. I was so gutted we didn't get him from Atletico Madrid. Same with Aguero when he went to Man City from Atletico as well. Atletico produced some great strikers. Falcao as well. But Dirk Kuyt, he was just such a little nitty gritty bastard. Like, he just, I don't know, man. There's something about him.
He pretty much played everywhere. He played every position, literally.
Everywhere.
he was not. And you know what, guys? I'm not joking. I wasn't a massive fan of Dirk Kuyt. I used to frustrate the shit out of me. I used to think, oh man, but he always big games. You know, he used to always turn up. But that was the best memory. The atmosphere I remember that day. We talk about atmospheres in Anfield. Even from the Chelsea side, it was the best atmosphere I've ever been involved in, and that was the best memory. Even though, you know, it wasn't the best of games, the game was so tense and from both sides, and the image of Rafa Benitez sitting there in his yoga pose while the penalty shootout was taking place. It's iconic. You guys won't remember it. You guys won't see it. You guys don't want to see it, right? But from a Liverpool fan point of view, Mourinho going mad and red in the face, and what's his name, Benitez just sitting there with his legs crossed was iconic and legendary. It will stay in my memory forever.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put that down as my one. Just to take a quick pause because the chat is absolutely blowing up. I don't know what in the hell is going on in this
transfer window.
This window is
mad.
This is the craziest transfer window I've ever seen. Like Ronaldo to potentially Man City, Mbappe to Real Madrid, and now you've got Erling Haaland potentially going to PSG to replace Mbappe. I think Richarlison was one of their targets as well. If that happens, and all of those moves that I've just mentioned all happen, this is the craziest window I've ever seen. Obviously, Messi moving as well already makes it ridiculous. And that's for another show in terms of Champions League. What we'll do, people, is we'll do maybe a Champions League special after all this transfer window stuff is over, so we can see everybody's teams. Because if you put Erling Haaland in the PSG team with Messi and Neymar, I actually think that strengthens them. Because I think Mbappe, I don't know, sometimes there's a clash of egos there. Potentially I could fire up with Messi being there and Neymar and Mbappe. I think there's a lot. But Erling Haaland is just a different character in general. I think him just being a striker that is in the box ready to finish to Messi and Neymar's chance creation, I think that's freakish. But for me, I'll go next with my moment. I think it wasn't a win, but the 4-4 at Stamford Bridge where we went 2-0 down, then we came back. I thought that was incredible because I think Fabio Aurelio scored from a free kick. Czech was kind of out of position. And we just beaten them, I think, 3-1 at Anfield. So we had a great performance out there. And I just remember the 2 goals going in and the Alonso penalty and thinking to myself, oh my shit, this is going to be a problem. And the whole game, we just kept toing and throwing. We got back to 2-2. Then Liverpool went and got another couple of goals as well.
Insane game. That was an insane
match. Insane. And it went right to the wire because Liverpool thought, it looked like Liverpool were going to do a comeback at the end when they went 4-3 up. And they just needed one more goal to knock us out. And I was like, oh my God, this game is killing me. But then we got the 4th for 4-4. That was a great game. Miz, what about you, bro?
Man, there's obviously been heaps, but just a few names that just flashed in my mind. I want to just run it past Grizz as well. Milan Baros is one that just flashed in my mind. He was, I hated him too. I hated Milan Baros. Obviously, Coutinho, every time he played, you just know, from the left, cut in, outside the box, whip it in, and Courtois beaten. I always hated those sort of scenarios. But I have to say that Demba Ba moment, that game in itself, stopping Liverpool for winning the Premier League, the way, I mean, yes, we parked the bus and whatnot, but
did you guys look? I want to hear you guys' honest opinion. Did you guys get more pleasure out of that? Because it was a nothing game for you guys, right? Rather than beating us, really?
Yes.
Yes, because
that just shows you
how
how gargantuan we are then, really.
There was nothing to play for, and we thought,
how much I enjoyed that. Like,
no, but more than the times you guys dumped us out of the Champions League and sort of
sure, those were special, Grizz, but this was a moment where we've stopped Gerrard from winning the Premier. Like
That was
there's
it.
a lot of stuff there that we don't want Gerrard to.
Do you know why as well?
I
Because
get
we
it.
tried to get Gerrard. Remember, we tried to get Gerard
Yeah.
30 times.
Yeah,
And
we
the
tried to
whole
get
factor
Gerrard.
was-
That same
and the whole
window as well.
Yeah, we tried to get Gerrard from Liverpool and to get him with Mourinho and Lampard and get that 3-4-3 going, which England
get
never replicated for some stupid reason. And obviously, Gerrard ended up staying. And it was all about, well, Gerrard would rather win 1 Premier League title with Liverpool than 3 with Chelsea. Completely understandable.
Yeah.
So what do we go and do now? Make sure you don't get that dream. Do you know what I mean? And just cut it off.
Yeah.
And I think because the game didn't, like the games that meant something and we needed to win, like the Champions League ones, they meant a lot, but we knew we needed to turn up. The fact that we had a dead rubber in the middle of 2 games in the semi-final against Atletico Madrid, which ended up going out, unfortunately. The fact that we had a dead rubber at Anfield, but you didn't even have to win. That was what was so special about it. You only had to draw. I think a lot of people forget that.
That was pure. That absolutely.
Brendan
That was
Rodgers.
the pure. I didn't forget. I don't forget. That was the pure. That was Jose Mourinho at his absolute psychological best.
Yeah.
He got into Brendan Rodgers all week, his mind. And Brendan Rodgers without Henderson, see, again, it goes back. People underestimate how important Henderson has been to Liverpool. Even back then, that was in the middle of his 3-game suspension. And without Henderson, we were, we didn't look the same. And to go out and try to attack Chelsea, who only came to just sit there and waste time, was a pure mindfuck from Brendan. Like Jose done him. Absolutely done him tactically, mentally, in every way. But, that was Brendan's naivety. He was a fairly new manager. People say he's still naive in that sense. He's still got a lot to prove because his Leicester team just can't get over that final thing. But that was, I get what you guys saying. Now that you guys giving it context and from your angle.
The whole Gerrard and Lampard, the one thing Lampard always has over Gerrard is you've never won the Premier League. So that was sweet.
Yeah.
That particular moment to be able to stop. So
there was also the thing of Liverpool not winning it for how long? I mean, you won it like after 30 years, two years ago or so. So at that time it was about what, 25. Yeah. There's that as well. Us, we're the ones that have kept this going. Just let's bragging rights.
I think Chelsea fans never really got over that ghost goal. I know it took me a long time to get over that ghost goal.
I still haven't.
Beating Liverpool fair and square was never really enough for me. Like I needed to feel like some sort of result that really deserved to go, because Liverpool just packed the box. They had Sturridge and Suarez and everybody in the box. And I was like, why are Liverpool packing the box at 0-0? They don't need to win. So just a dirty, grimy win was needed against Liverpool. Needed. Yeah. What about you, Younes? What about you for your game?
So sorry.
For me, it has to be the Demba Ba game. It has to be. But one crazy game that I remember just because of the goal that was scored, and it was against Liverpool, was 2000. Was it 2005 or 2006? No, the Drogba goal where he took it on his chest, turned and hit it.
Oh, against Carragher.
Sensational. Sensational goal.
2007, I think. Yeah.
That was us at our best. So that just sprung to mind.
Yeah. I think that's the season we didn't win the league. We won the double. We done it twice in a row, and then that was the season we just won the cup.
No.
I think 2007.
Actually,
what shirt
did we have? Did we have the yellow one here, or did we not?
No, we was at Stamford Bridge. That was a home game. We had the Adidas kit. Remember the iconic Adidas kit with like that
white lines?
AC
it was when we lost it. It was when we finished second.
We didn't win the Premier League that season. We had like an injury to Czech and Kudicini. I think Lario was in goal. Or even Terry against Reading. We had a
JT,
terrible. Yeah. So I think we finished second that year. But that goal was incredible. I must say. Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure going down memory lane. I have no idea what's happening on Twitter with this transfer news, so we're going to get off before some other breaking news happens. I don't know, maybe Kante will be sold to Barcelona in a freak £200 million move to put them into bankruptcy or something. I don't know. But Grizz, absolute pleasure having you on the show, man, as our special guest. And let the people know where to find you. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, no. It's been an absolute honor, man. I've really enjoyed the chat. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've just started I've still got the Trippers, so don't unsubscribe from there. But guys, if you want to hear more of my ramblings on, just Grizz Khan, I've just started. I haven't posted anything yet, but very soon is coming. So Grizz Khan on my YouTube, and obviously catch me on the Big Six with Matisse. Hopefully, should be some fireworks come on Monday. Whoever sides, won or lost. But but apart from that, thank you very much, man. I really enjoyed it.
Pleasure, bro. And obviously, Big Six tonight as well. I think a few Man City fans are going to be coming for you, so prepare yourself. You and Big Steve.
Ryan, let them, man. I love it.
I was like, let's save it for later. This is not Man City.
Exactly. Show. I love this game, as Patrice Evra says, man. I love this game. Bring it.
Final super chat as well. iTest Merchant says, could have still won the league after Liverpool win 2014. Yeah, we could have, but we were never really in it. I think it was a 3-horse race, but
we were the little horse.
We were the little horse.
Exactly. We're still giving it milk.
Feeding, and we need to...
His team selection on the day indicated that he didn't think it was in it. Do you remember, guys?
Schwarzer was in goal. Callas in centre back.
He concentrated. You had a Champions League semi-final or something.
Madrid. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So we were just on the outskirts of the race, but with Bar, Torres, and was it Eto'o up front? Or was it someone else? I can't remember. I think maybe someone else. But Bar,
up front?
We had Bar. We had Demba Bar, Fernando Torres, and one other striker. It was never.
I think it was Eto'o. I think so.
Yeah, I think it might have been Eto'o.
I think it was Eto'o. Yeah, it was never really a title-winning strike force. Miz, bro, great show. Let them know where to find you. What's coming out? What's happening?
Yeah. Now, firstly, Grizz, fantastic to have you on the show.
It's been my
always
pleasure.
wanted to have a chat with you, and I think what Matisse is doing to be able to bring some of the Big Six boys down here adds a different flavor. So do appreciate that. And to everyone, I've got the preview coming up straight after the press conference. So 2 p.m. UK time, the other side of the coin. Be there, and should be fun.
Brilliant stuff. Guys, make sure you go subscribe to the other side of the coin. Link is in the description as always. Grizz's link is in the description to his new channel as well. Already over 2,000 subscribers, which is incredible. Do you know what I mean? So let's get that pumped up. Younes, bro, let them know where to find you. What's coming up? Great show, bro.
Firstly, Grizz, thanks for coming on, man. It was a pleasure. May the best team win tomorrow, that's for sure.
100%.
In terms of what's coming up, there's the content coming in for tomorrow's game, the preview later on, watch along and the review tomorrow, and then we just keep looking forward. Obviously, there's the international break, so it's all going to be transfer related up until the window closes, and then just general Chelsea and football talk and see what's popping. Might have Ronaldo at City by then, so we'll wait and see. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Unbelievable, man.
Yeah, I mean, guys, obviously, make sure you smash the like on the stream. Still over 800 of you. Make sure you smash up the like. Subscribe if you're new as well. Pushing for that 17,000 subs as well. In terms of content, obviously, I've got a few Twitch guests planned. Joe Tweedy, a couple of others as well. So make sure you stay locked on the Twitch. We're definitely going to sort that out. Obviously, the F1 starts back up for after the summer break. In Spa, the Belgium Grand Prix. I'm going to be doing a watch along for that on Sunday, and obviously Don Robbie on Saturday for the Liverpool game, so there won't be a watch along here. There could be a second bit of content today because I'm not sure what the hell is going on with Jules Koundé and Zuma. That could happen at any moment in terms of a confirmation, so look out for that as well. There might be a second drop today, and absolute pleasure. Like I said, great show, and we'll try and get Turkish on for next week because obviously we didn't get that done last week, but international break is next week, so we'll try and get Turkish on for the show. And we'll talk about Arsenal's decline in heavy detail there and enjoy ourselves. But until then, I'll see you guys in a bit. Peace.